So, how do you make marketing and sales work as one team?
I mean, you don't like having multiple teams? I'm just kidding.
That's the age-old question because marketing,
It's funny because I was the company that I built the $45 million division for, they had a VP of sales and marketing. So one person was overall, so you couldn't point fingers. I think part of it is marketing drives sales and sales confirms what marketing is doing right. So you have to work as one team. So how do you do it? Communication, you have shared feedback. Marketing owns the lead quality and conversion to appointment, and sales owns the lead to implementation, follow, and closing the deal. But here's where most people miss. They don't get together and communicate. So up in the ivory tower, marketing is driving leads, but if someone's not closing, they don't want to hear from sales. They just want to blame sales, and sales wants to blame marketing. So you got to remove the blame, and you have to get together and collaborate. It's one of my favorite words is collaborate. You all work for the same, if you have a company, everyone on the team, and if you have outside partners, agencies, etc., it's one team, one vision, one goal. And you've got to communicate that together, create a scoreboard and communicate so that way you can say, how do we improve? What do we need to improve? And start noticing who on your team is raising their hands and offering advice. The other thing that we talk about so many times is don't complain about something and saying, I'm getting bad leads. Or looking at marketing, look at sales is, hey, I've listened to and reviewed some of your calls and I think you could do a better job. So I'd say eliminate the finger pointing and come together with a process that I heard. It's funny. I heard a young lady from Venezuela who worked for an American company that was at a conference that I was at, and they had, what's the best thing that works in your company? And she won $1,000 poker chip in Las Vegas for this. But I do think it originally came from Dan Martell. And the idea is 1-3-1. One, state the problem that you're having. Then state 3 ideas that you think will solve the problem. So if you have a problem, don't just go say no complaining unless you have a solution to the problem. And then so it's of 1 problem, 3 solutions, and then finally, which is the solution that you recommend us using and why you recommend us using it. If companies implemented the 1-3-1, they would create, 1, people wouldn't be complaining, and B, they would get ideas, and that would drive ideas to organizations and create more conversations.
Right, right. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, with that same idea, I got involved into a book adaptation to Spanish
Mhm.
because I mean I was not complaining, but I told the author of the book, well, you should consider writing the book in Spanish because there's a big audience. I have experience with Latin America audience. You have Spain; it's the second biggest language spoken in the world. You have Chinese, but but on the Western hemisphere, right? Western culture, and basically he said,
English, it's the most important language for us to know
right, yeah,
or communicate in or be able to sell in because it's such a large portion of even the US. It's like 20 something percent of the population.
right, right. It's huge, yeah. So I kind of described the nuances of the different variations of Spanish that there are, and he said that sounds great. You should write the adaptation of my book. Right. And, again, it's the same thing you're talking about is, if somebody complains, they should be able to take that into actionable things, right? Rather than just complaining. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what you were describing reminds me of another story. I'm full of stories today. Yeah. So, the sales and marketing gets lost in an island, right? And then, marketing goes into the woods and says, I'm going to find some food. Right. And then come back running, right? And there is a wild pig, chasing marketing, right? And says to sales, now you kill it, right?
It almost
I
sounds like
got you late. I got you late, right?
I found food.
I'm bringing food, right?
Go get it.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's your job to close it, right?
Yes. Close the
Yeah.
deal. Get us dinner.
Close the deal. Here it comes, right? Which shows that if you don't have this good coordination between these teams, then you can have great leads, but if there's no coordination, you're going to lose them, right?
Correct.
And finger blaming them why that happened, right?
Exactly.